Coming up on Midco Motorsports, a NASCAR veteran makes a special appearance at Jackson Motorplex. Find out how Ken Schrader fared against a local competition. The Dakota Classic Modified Tour kicked off its 28th run across North Dakota and Canada. We've got a full recap of the opening night stop in Jamestown. Plus, Doug Howells is living proof that small town doesn't mean small time. See the story behind his rise to Hall of Fame status. The green flag drops now. A NASCAR veteran turned some laps in southwest Minnesota. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elson, and this is Midco Motorsports. Ken Schrader didn't just reach racing's biggest stage, he stayed there, earning 4 victories in 29 seasons on NASCAR's top circuit. Those days are well behind him now, but the now 62-year-old Schrader still maintains a full schedule. This year alone, he's on pace to race nearly 60 times across multiple divisions, with the most recent coming Friday night at Jackson Motorplex.
Schrader rolled with the A-Mods for this one. We'll have more on him in just a bit. Good race in the 305 sprints, although things got a little twisted off an early restart. Corey Couts and Colin Smith get tangled up between turns 1 and 2. Both drivers did get out of it okay, but the cars were toast. Pole setter Chris Duffy led the field back to green, but he didn't stay there much longer. Jesse Lindbergh blows by him on the front stretch. Later on, Lindbergh gets a challenge of his own. Trevor Service gets him briefly, but the 7L able to answer back. No more lead changes after that. Lindbergh drives on to become the 7th different winner in 9 305 races at Jackson. The A-Mod feature would prove to be a short one for the guy many came to see. Engine problems forced Schrader to the pits when he was running 4th. He finished 16th. No such issues for Brandon Beckendorf. He's been the guy to beat all year in this class, and he had the 5 car tuned up yet again. Beckendorf charges all the way from 11th to get his 3rd win of the year. There'd be a little controversy surrounding the final race of the night. Cody Ledger way out front on lap 9 of the 360 feature, but he hits a roadblock in lap traffic. The 35, nowhere to go when Kevin Flowers slows suddenly in the 42. Those two would actually get together again in the pits, which resulted in a 1-race suspension for Ledger. Fast forward to the final few laps now. Greg Baker out in front, but Lee Gross wanted it more. Gross overtakes Baker with a picture-perfect slider in turn 2, and he wouldn't look back from there. Gross goes on to claim his first victory of the year at Jackson Motorplex.
It's huge for our team. You know, you don't necessarily get down on yourself, but, you know, it just gets... You've been close, and you know, you feel like I feel like I've been making a few mistakes here and costing us a few wins, and luckily got the win tonight. I capitalized on an opportunity there. You know, leader got taken out. You know, I feel bad for him, but I'll take him any way I can get him.
The Wissota Late Model Challenge Series closed out the first half of its schedule at Rapid Speedway on Friday. Highlights from their run at Rocky are coming up next. And welcome back. Wissota's Late Model Challenge Series will make several stops in South Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin this summer, but just one in Iowa. Friday was the day as the circuit returned to Rapid Speedway for the 3rd straight year.
Starting position would prove to be especially important on this night. Dustin Gulbranson on the outside of row 1 for the hobby stock feature, and he sprints to the lead at the drop of the green flag. Blake Ahrens tried to make a run. He pilots a 22 past Tyler Schlumbaum for 2nd, but he wouldn't quite be able to reel in the 6 car. Gulbranson hangs on, going wire to wire for his 3rd win of the year in Rock Rapids.
Track was kind of somewhat one lane around the top, so having a good starting spot in the front row there definitely increased our chances of having a win as long as I didn't mess up.
The B-Mods featured another good duel between Tyler Johnson and Maya Christensen. Christensen nipped Johnson a couple of weeks ago to win the season special, and it looked like he might get him again. 10 laps to go, the 782 takes the lead away from the 91. But it would come down to the final turn, and this time it's Johnson. His second straight win comes by way of a photo finish. 20 late models lined up for the night's main event, but there wouldn't be much doubt as to which one was the best. John Conta started on the outside of row one, and he would quickly take control off the start. Things were a little more interesting behind him. Jake Radetzky overtakes Jeffrey Massengill for second, but that's as close as he or anyone else would get to the front. It was Conta all the way. He takes over the points lead thanks to his first Challenge Series win.
That clearly was it tonight. You know, we drew the front row and we're lucky enough to get to the front when we needed to and move down. The track started to one lane a bit, and by that time I had gotten to the front, so that's what worked, but the draw was clearly it.
One of the top modified tours in the country is off and running. Find out how things went on opening night in Jamestown when Midco Motorsports rolls on. The Dakota Classic Modified Tour raised the bar yet again last year, averaging an all-time best 90.4 modifieds over its 6-night schedule. Saturday, officials were hoping to set another record pace as they kicked off the 28th annual event at Jamestown Speedway.
141 total cars on night one. 100 of those were modifieds. The rest were USRA stock cars. Picking up with their feature on lap 4, the 2M of Angel Munoz goes inside to take the lead away from Chad Sterling. 11 to go now. Here comes the defending champ, Elijah Zevenbergen, gets by Munoz to take over the top spot, but he would have to hold on. Aaron Olson almost gets him here. The 14 gets a little too high in turn 4, and that would seal it. Zevenbergen drives on to get the win. It was his third straight on the tour, dating back to 2016.
You know, it took a little time as the track was changing every lap, you know, going from heavy to dry slick to, you know, it was just changing a lot. So it took a little bit and adjusting throughout the race, but it came together to work all right. You know, starting the tour with the win is an advantage. You know, you get some motivation, it gets everything rolling and the train moving, and it just feels great.
After 10 heats and 6 B mains, the field whittled to 30 for the night's main event. Picking up with 21 to go. Good battle for second. Ricky Thornton Jr. wins it with an outside pass on Cody Bauman. Things got crazy a short time later. Race leader Spencer Wilson gets into the backside of Hank Berry. That sends the 25 into a spin. Fortunately for Wilson, the caution was charged to Berry, so he got to hang on to the number 1 position. And Wilson would make the most of it. Pretty impressive run for him on this night as he goes on to dust the field by a 2.5-second margin.
I guess Hank decided he was going to pull off the racetrack there, and he just kind of locked the brakes down to get off the track, and I hit him, you know, but I guess lucky we got a good call on that deal and got our spot back and was able to continue on. I thought I was screwed. It's nice to be at the top of the provisional.
Highway 10 between Fargo and Detroit Lakes was busy with lake traffic, but it was also host to some great racing Sunday night at Buffalo River Race Park. 9 laps remaining in the Supermods feature. Dilworth's Vince Jetvig makes his move on leader Dustin Hartwig. The 22 hugs the inside line to complete the pass. His work was far from finished, though. Fargo's Kelly Jacobson would go toe-to-toe with Jetvig the rest of the way, but his outside run wasn't quite enough. Jetvig hangs on for the win, which he says was a much-needed shot in the arm.
Just for the car to stay in one piece and make it, we busted 3 transmissions and drive shafts. Tore up a lot of stuff here in the last 3 races, and so even just the finish is a big deal, let alone get the win.
That was good, but the best race of the night came in the IMCA Modifieds. Pick it up with 20 to go. Race leader Patrick Breka makes a costly mistake in turn 2, and Castleton's Rick Pavlicek is there to pounce. 5 laps later, Breka hoping to answer on a restart, but instead, deja vu. This time it cost him several spots. He'd end up finishing 6th. Pavlicek would lead by as much as 10 car lengths after that, but he saw it all wiped away with 5 to go. Bad news for him, but great news for the fans because it set up a wild 2-man race between Pavlicek and Rob Van Mill. Those two would be pretty much side by side the rest of the way, and check out the finish. Impossible to call it there, so let's take another look. Still not obvious, even in slow motion. But it's Van Mill that gets it. The winning margin, 0.014 seconds.
It was a tough race, and the track was awesome tonight. Track was real slick. Just got a good momentum going. That's what got me up there. I've had a few close ones, but that was definitely one of the closest.
Well, fresh off a dominating weekend, Dustin Strand looked to keep things rolling at River Cities. Find out how the 71 car fared Friday after this. After some uncharacteristic early season struggles, it appears Dustin Strand is officially back on track. Any doubt about that was erased on June 30th when River City's two-time defending late model champion swept a double feature to move back to the top of the standings.
Friday, Strand and the rest of the RCS regulars were chasing mid-season championships at the Bull Ring. The night also included a double feature for the NOSA Sprints. Jordan Adams had the 28 dialed in for the first one. He set a blazing pace. Mark Dobmeyer lurking, though. Watch this battle with Austin Pierce for second. The two exchanged the spot a couple of times before Dynamite finally finishes the fight. From there, he zeroed in on the leader, and on lap 22, the door flies open. A mistake on the backstretch costs Adams the lead, and it got worse from there. He goes into the water barrels in turn 4, and just like that, his race was finished. After that, the end result was inevitable. Dobmeyer leads the final 4 laps for the win. Austin Hunter settled into the top spot for the Midwest Modifieds feature, and he would keep the 44 out front for the first 9 laps. That's when Rick Hamill arrived on the scene. The 22 car uses the bottom to run down Hunter, and he goes on to collect his second win of the season at RCS. Strand back out front to start the late model feature, and it looked like this was again going to be his night. Brad Sang gets a couple of shots at the 71, but Strand able to fend him off. Different story on the final lap, though. Strand gets slowed by a back marker. That gives Sang one last chance, and he makes it count. Fantastic finish here as Sang beats Strand to the line by less than 4/100ths of a second.
He kind of was committed to the bottom all night, and I'd move up a little bit, and the car was better and better, and the white flag came, and I just Hail Married her into 3 and 4, and it stuck, and we came down the front straightaway, and for once I was on the winning end.
The Outlaws rolled back onto the track to round out the night, and guess who's back? Dobmeyer passes pole setter Pierce for the lead just a few laps in, and it was all about restarts after that. Dynamite dominated those as well. Dobmeyer doubles up, giving him 3 wins in his last 5 starts at River Cities.
The first one I was really struggling on my restarts, and we came back and scratched our heads a little bit and came up with a few different ideas, and we tried some odd stuff in the car tonight, and it actually worked really well for us. So we came on that second feature, and we had a rocket ship right from the word go.
He built a small town team into a sprint car powerhouse and ultimately landed in the Sports Hall of Fame. We'll take a closer look at the incredible racing life of Doug Howells next. And welcome back. Doug Howells built himself quite a legacy by taking his small town team to some of the biggest stages in sprint car racing. Midco SN's Brian Shawn has more on the racing life of this living legend.
Hunter, North Dakota is a simple place, a rural community just off of County Road 18 northwest of Fargo. This small home in the town of just over 250 people blends in with the rest. It's not flashy, and it certainly doesn't look like a place where a racing empire could be built. But in the 1960s, this is where Doug Howells found his passion.
I saw an ad in the paper for stock car races, like in May, June. And so I went out there and watched that, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Howells drove a 32 Ford Coupe for a few years and eventually became car owner and mechanic when his driver and partner at the time offered him some advice on a small-town potato farmer from East Grand Forks, Minnesota.
He said, I'll just sell you the car, and he says, and if I were you, I'd go call that Don Mack guy up and see if you could get him to drive it for you.
I knew that the minute Doug asked me, it didn't take me long to answer him, because I knew that he was capable of doing what he did. Being a farmer, if we had something that grew right, we'd go it forever. And when I started driving for Doug, we started winning features right away, so I figured I better stay with him forever.
Howells operated in modest surroundings as he worked on his craft and developed into one of the top mechanics in the Midwest.
Well, he loved it. He worked on it. No matter if you'd see the little shed we worked on and stuff, you'd never ever believed it. You know, he didn't really have anything fancy to work with.
Just put them together and went to the racetrack. And if you weren't going good, you tried to figure out why, I guess.
Everything just clicked, resulting in several track championships and numerous victories throughout the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska.
He was just a good driver. He liked to win really bad. And I think, you know, that's the biggest part, is to have that desire to win.
You know, I think from us racing together for that many years, he could watch what I was doing on the track, and I think I could pretty much come in and tell him, you know, what the car was doing, and I'd go out there the next race and hell, the car was perfect, and go to beat a whack.
After nearly a decade of dominating in the Midwest as weekend warriors, the two men embarked on a new adventure in the 1970s, going from the dirt to the asphalt, putting this small-town duo in the national spotlight.
That track at Glendon there, they paved it, and so we got lucky, and we raced there on Sunday nights, so we got some pavement experience, I guess. And we used to go to the Minnesota State Fair at fair time there, and that was pavement, and we went good there right off the bat. So apparently we got enough experience there at Glendon to get the car halfway decent.
I don't know if we're lucky, or I think Doug knew how to really set the car up where it was easy to drive, but we had the combination that we end up winning 2 Florida 500s and Little Indy 500 all in a row.
In 1980, the team decided to join the World of Outlaws full-time, but just 31 races into the schedule, Max suddenly and unexpectedly retired, ending an 18-year partnership.
My mother and dad got killed in a car accident that October before, and I had to make a decision, and I farmed. I don't know yet today if that was really the right one or not, because it was hard to walk away. But he had Doug Wolfgang coming in, so I don't know, I think he was kind of pretty excited about that, and I don't blame him, because I'll tell you what, Wolfgang was one heck of a driver.
So Howells continued on the rigorous World of Outlaws tour, spending close to 10 months straight on the road, but had wife Joanne along for the ride.
The racing part was good, and I suppose it made it pretty easy. Me and my wife went with us all the time.
She loved racing, you know, and I can't really honestly remember a race that we went to that she didn't, because she was always there, and she didn't like to lose, but who does?
With Wolfgang behind the wheel, a second-place finish in the World of Outlaws points followed in 1981. And throughout the decade, Doug and Joanne had many famous drivers at the helm of their number 4 Sprinter, including Jack Hewitt, Danny Smith, Jack Hoddenchild, and Kenny Jacobs. But enough was finally enough. The Howells decided to get off the road for a while, ending their run on the tour in 1986.
Money always entered into the racing deal, and if you were racing good, you generally had enough money to do it. But if you got to where you weren't racing good, I think our motor deal kind of about that time we kind of got off track on that. And
Doug continued to turn wrenches and work on race cars of other teams throughout the 90s before taking a job at an electric company. But in 2001, Joanne, the woman that had been by his side at tracks all over the country, passed away from cancer.
I guess you just put your head down and get going. There isn't much else you can do with it. So.
With support from his family, Doug soldiered on, and in 2005 decided it was time to go racing again, with his grandson in the driver's seat.
When I turned 17, actually my grandpa told me for my birthday that we were going to go race in sprint cars, and that was probably one of my best birthday gifts I've ever had.
He'd kind of been bugging me for a few years. We should get a race car, and I didn't wasn't really into the, like 14 and 15-year-old kids getting in race cars. And so I thought when he got to be 17, he was, a little more mature.
And when it came time to pick a color and number for the car, the decision was pretty easy.
I asked him if he wanted to paint it like his cars back in the day, and obviously he agreed to that, and I thought it would be kind of cool.
I know a lot of people came down after races that I hadn't seen for years and years and years and said, boy, that's really good to see you get that yellow car out there again.
Gross picked up his first victory in 2006, and the family has spent over a decade together traveling to tracks across the Midwest, winning 2 ASCS Northern Plains championships.
I just love racing, and it could be a modified late model sprint car, whatever. If somebody offered me the opportunity to go racing for a living, I'd probably do it, whatever car it is.
Howells is now 82 years old, but his racing career that has spanned nearly 60 years continues on, with the same spirit and passion he started with so long ago.
There's sure a lot of grief and headaches goes along with it, so that can't be why you do it. So I guess it's just for the fun part when you win them races. It makes it all worthwhile.
That again was Brian Shawn reporting. Now, racing continues to be a family affair for Howells. Not only does his grandson Lee drive the car, but his son-in-law Leroy serves as the chief mechanic, and his daughter Linda is also involved. In addition, the car's number 4J is a tribute to Doug's late wife, Joanne. All right, well, that is our time for this week. For Brian Shawn, Greg Ankers, and our producer Max Jensen, I am Jay Elson. We'll see you next time.